India getting the much needed wicket of Manas Labuschagne, and now you get the feeling the cat is amongst the pigeons, and I say that because everybody that's to follow hasn't played too much in the subcontinent, and the fact that India could be a really tough place. Matt Renshaw walks in and India is going to wait to see what's going to happen, because there's been a lot of talk about the pitch and it's been tailor-made for the left-handers, and here's the second one walking for the first one to play spin now.
Well, that's the thing. We saw Warner and Khawaja earlier. They didn't stick around long enough for us to be making too many assessments of how the pitch went to the left-hander. Both out for one. Labuschagne and Smith did all the hard work to get themselves to lunch. They put on 74 up until the lunch break. They looked very settled, and it must be said, Manas did not look comfortable after lunch. He got hit on the pads. He had a couple of nervy moments where he was beaten, and then there as Jadeja just perfectly weighted delivery, drew him forward. And he plays and misses, looking to drive and bring up that half century, and KS Bharat had him off in a flash. What are some of the challenges, Dinesh, keeping on a pitch like this?
For a start, you have to make sure your head is still, because this is the kind of wicket that could keep low, that could turn, and the odd one can bounce as well. So you got to make sure your head is as still as possible, because the moment your head is not in place, which basically means as a keeper that you're not sure and you tend to back away, your weight is more on the heels, then you tend to miss the ball a lot more.
So Matt Renshaw, the lefty, hit on the pad, big shout, he's out. Renshaw's out, ball one. And the Indians inside the VCA Stadium are roaring their approval. Renshaw walks down the track to chat with Steve Smith, and they're going to have to review this, with India on the attack here and the Aussies on the precipice of being 4 down. The umpire on the spot has given him out. Matt Renshaw, LBW, Jadeja, ball one, and now for the DRS.
The DRS has been India's friend today, for sure. Let's hope that it stays that way for another one. Let's not hope, let's just see if it works that way.
I was about to say, there's a few million Australians back home hoping that you're not right there, DK.
You do get the feeling as you see it on first instant, the ball is literally hit him on middle stump, which tells me that it could be clipping, and that's the worst feeling for a batsman, because you know on another day it could have gone your way, but today being the day where the ball is not turning as much, if it was second or third day it would probably go past the leg stump, but today the ball isn't turning as much as it would tomorrow, so it's going to be a very interesting call. Let's wait and watch how this happens, but must say it was a nervy shot first up.
Pitch is right in the middle of the track. It's hitting him in line. It is umpire's call, just clipping the leg stump. And that's enough for Jadeja and India. And Matt Renshaw, as quick as he got there, he's turning around and headed back. He's out for a golden duck. And Ravindra Jadeja is on a hat-trick. The Aussies in trouble, 4 for 84.
This is what happens, Corbin, in turning tracks. When one wicket falls, you're almost following it up with another one or a couple maybe, because the toughest part of playing on a turning track is your first 20 balls, because you don't know which one is turning, and you always feel as a batter you don't have any chance there, because the normal ball would kick a lot more, would turn a lot more, and you get all the doubts possible as a batter. Matt Renshaw, long flight from Australia, did all the training possible in Bangalore. But first up, a very nervy start.
I'll leave you, DK, with Prakash who's about to come in, and Pete Handscomb's on his way out to the middle, as they did in the first 20 minutes of the opening session on day one. The Aussies have lost 2 quick ones. Warner and Khawaja both out for 1, and then after lunch, Labuschagne for 49, and now Renshaw, first ball. More from Dinesh Kartik on Grandstand Cricket.
In India, there's been a lot of hype around this series, because there's a lot to play for as an Indian team. If you get a positive scoreline, which could be upwards of 2-0 or 3-1, there's a great chance they'll get into the World Test Championship final. And that's a massive carrot to be dangling in front of a team India, which has come out in all force. And this series so far, on the first day, has completely lived up to its reputation. What say, Mr. Prakash?
Oh, it certainly has, DK, hasn't it? It's had that period just after those first 2 wickets where we saw classic test match cricket. I think you used the analogy of chess, and it was like that. It was a battle where there was thinking, there was scheming, there were planning, and then post-lunch, as often happens, get 1, you get 2. And suddenly Australia have been pegged back.
Do you think it's because the players have a heavy lunch? A lot of oil in the lunch, you reckon? Makes them feel a little drowsy.
Well, I mean, then maybe the Indians didn't have lunch.
The Aussies did then.
Probably. I mean, judging by the food we had downstairs, DK, I'm telling you, I could have run my car on it for a bit. There was enough oil in there. 84 for 4 then. So 2 quick wickets after lunch, as we saw right in the morning when the game started. And here's Shami. 1 for 18 of his 7 so far. Interesting field. Give it to you in a moment as Steve Smith. What's he pointing at? Is it once again the camera, is it?
Yes. It is a spider cam that he's talking about. It's been a very interesting camera, to say the least. And as you can see, Matt Renshaw is somebody who's obviously played spin very well last series. But this series, his first ball, it looks a lazy shot, but that's the way he plays. That's how Matt Renshaw is. Tall, makes it look lazy, but that's how his game is. But I would say he definitely had nerves there. Came down on the ball late. Jadeja just bowling a simple ball, hitting his leg and getting him out.
Shami into Smith, who plays it on the offside. Little fumble from Akshar, but no run conceded. 84 for 4. Yes, this spider cam has caused Smith some concern more than once. I think it's as it sort of passes over, just catches the corner of his eye. And given the kind of player he is, I guess he just wants everything sublime. And rightly so.
If you're a world-class batsman averaging 60, you have a lot of things that you want to tick box when you're batting as soon as you get into stance. And I feel it's not just the spider cam, it's the shadow of the spider cam that's irritating him a lot more.
There's Shami in again, bowls, and this one's worked away on the onside, not for runs. Slip backward point, cover mid-off, offside, and then those 2 men catching, as we've seen when the reverse is being attempted. The mid-on, orthodox mid-wicket, and a man deep backward is square. Just watching that replay, that'll be great feeling for Bharat too, isn't it? Maiden test wicket behind the stumps. It was a quick stumping too, DK, wasn't it?
It was a lovely stump.
Very nicely done.
Head correctly in line with the ball, allowing the ball to turn. He was slightly side on so that in case it bounced extra, he could still gather it. He was in a great position for that stumping.
Shami into Smith, and Smith drives, but straight to the man at cover. There is no run.
This is the difference between Steve Smith the way he batted the fast bowlers when he came up front with the new ball, was moving a lot more towards the ball, whereas once the ball has started reversing, which it has post lunge, he's waited a lot more, hasn't given it a lot of feet movement, but made sure his head is in great position, and he's allowed the ball to swing so that he doesn't go at it. The most simple form of dismissal when somebody is reversing the ball is LBW.
Shami is in again, and this one's played on the onside again by Steve Smith. What an amazing student of the game he must be, isn't it? I mean, his record speaks for itself, but the application, the sheer application.
You know, talent is often a very, very overrated world in sport. This is also talent. The ability to read situations, to prepare, to understand what a bowler can come with, and then you making a plan around that with regards to your batting. That is a talent in itself as well, and that's what all great players do. They do come really well prepared.
There's Shami in from the far end bowls, and Smith defends. And that's what test match batting is all about, particularly as he himself said at the start of the series, that when you are in, then you've got to bat really long in India if you want to give your side a chance, isn't it? It's not something you're going to do, score very quickly, very often. It's going to take application, time, effort, and partnerships.
Absolutely. For a foreign batsman, when they come to India, what is tough is when they bat long, they'll be playing a lot of spin, so at all points they need that concentration. Vice versa, when an Indian player goes abroad, it is the fact that you need to concentrate long hours to bat, because the fast bowler will be in play a lot, and one mistake could end up being your wicket. As a batsman, you have one chance. It's pretty self-explanatory, so you might as well put your heart and soul and make sure when you get going, because there are going to be days when you feel like what Matt Renshaw is feeling right now, sitting in the dressing room, practiced for a long time, comes here, gets the first ball and gets out, and that's a nasty feeling. But when you get set, and that's what you could see in the face of Marnus Labuschagne when they showed in the dressing room, a dejected, a disappointed man, because he was batting beautifully. He had batted the tough part of the innings, he had got set, and then he played a loose shot to get out.
Hat-trick ball from Jadeja, fresh over, first ball to Hanscom, who defends. And look at that field now. You've got a slip. The man going into gully now, Rahul, keeping Virat Kohli company there. and a forward short leg. So 3 men. Is that a no ball signal? Yes.
Is that a free hit, Prakash?
Sorry?
Is that a free hit?
Here's Jadeja. Maybe there'll be a day when that'll happen too, DK, as Jadeja bowls nice and full back along the track.
No, Prakash, never. It should never be. Let Test cricket be in its purest, truest form, and that is beautiful to watch.
I sincerely hope it does, DK, but you and I both know there are various things afoot, and we'll have to hope that the purity is undisturbed. This one is squirted away off the inside part of the bat down towards 45. No run. 85 for 4.
Pete Hanscom is a beautiful story of resilience. Somebody who's part of the Australian team, had a poor time in between, got dropped, obviously went through a tough time with regards to his batting.
Jadeja in defended.
Went to Middlesex, captained them, had a iffy season, not the best ones, but led the team really well, but goes back to Victoria and does so well that he's been picked again. A lovely story for all cricketers, that resilience and determination is a very important part.
Good ball again, this one just in that area which drew a false defensive stroke. Outside edge along the ground, no damage.
But the one good thing about Pete Hanscom, and you can ask any Australian cricketer and they tell you, is he does play spin very well, and that should bode him well in this series.
Settles into his stance, Jadeja bowls, and he comes forward, leans defensively forward. Talking about resilience, who better than you to talk about resilience? I mean, what was it, 2007? The inaugural T20 World Cup, right? We all remember that as people watching it, and you played, and then you played the last one in Australia. So resilience, you have all the right in the world to speak about it. This one's outside the off stump, spins away. No damage done. There is a little bit of excitement, but muted. I think more of mind games. End of the over, 85 for 4. So how does one